Angela, it's great to have you here.
Hey, Pat, I'm so glad to be here.
We can push ourselves over the stress limit. What happens when that happens?
Yeah, I mean, if we push our bodies too hard and we're stressed to the max for too long of a time, we all have stress here and there, we have stressful days, but if we continue to have day after day of that intense stress and we're really pushing our bodies too much, we can throw off our hormone systems and really affect our health and our entire body. And we could potentially have issues like fatigue, chronic fatigue, and adrenal fatigue, which is what I really work with people on.
Let's talk about adrenal fatigue if we could, because that thing is a showstopper.
Yeah, so I do get that question a lot. So, a client will say, hey, I feel tired. Does that necessarily mean I have an issue? What is the difference between just having low energy and adrenal fatigue? So, most of us feel tired given our demanding jobs and all our responsibilities in our modern lives. And this is why so many Americans experience adrenal fatigue during their lifetime. So the issue is to what intensity and to what duration your tiredness continues. So feeling tired can become chronic low energy. It could eventually become adrenal fatigue or adrenal failure if new habits aren't formed or changes made to your lifestyle. So there's kind of a difference, and it can vary from person to person. Adrenal fatigue occurs when the adrenal glands, which are those small lumps of tissue located directly above your kidneys, when they become triggered. And the primary trigger for adrenal glands is stress. So stress is not just, hey, I'm about to get on the radio and be live. It is kind of that continual stress kind of internally in your body, which is related to an overproduction of hormones. So your adrenal glands produce hormones that are critical to feeling well. So they produce adrenaline and cortisol, and they produce hormones that regulate the production of your sex hormones as estrogen and testosterone. So when you're stressed for a long period of time, and when your adrenal glands are triggered and overextended, then they're going to produce an extra amount of those hormones, like adrenaline. And that's where we get into problems. If we have too much adrenaline or too much cortisol when we don't really need it, so not when we're running from danger, or having something dramatic or traumatic happen, when it's just an average day, but our body thinks we're in severe stress and we're producing all that hormone, that's when over time our body can be just really run down and our adrenal glands will eventually become damaged from being so hyperactive.
And, let's talk for a minute about what that means, about what happens when our adrenals become damaged.
Yeah, so what you're kind of asking is a little bit about the adrenal fatigue diagnosis process, and if people are asking, do I have it? How do I know? And, diagnosis of adrenal fatigue can be a little bit tricky. So if I'm working with someone, the first thing I'm going to do is learn about their life as much as I can. So learn about their lifestyle, their sleep habits, their diet, and also some functional lab tests that can be done by some functional medicine or integrated health providers can really help us. Testing some markers of adrenal function like cortisol and DHEA. The problem sometimes with these lab tests is that your primary care doctor may run those and you still may be quote unquote in range, yet you still are suffering. You still sense there's something not right. For a long period of time, you're just exhausted all the time. So the blood levels in these lab tests alone don't provide clear evidence that leads to a diagnosis. So usually what I say is in combination with the intuition of the person, because people usually know when something's off, and I just compare that to their symptoms and their lifestyle in addition to those lab reports, and that's where we can really say, hey, it seems like your adrenals are sluggish, or maybe you have adrenal fatigue. Another thing is a lot of the recommendations that I give through my program and when I work with clients one-on-one, those are things that anybody who wants to be healthier is going to want to implement. And if you notice that you start to feel better and get your energy back when you implement a lot of these, chances are you had some sluggish or lower adrenal function.